What's up, folks? Stu Myrick, Sportscast Talking Wrestling. And yes, that is not Justin Simmons across from me because he is not early. Had a encounter. Well, first of all, let's see. I first heard from Jordan Wahlberger, who does Fight Night, the show that precedes us on the Horn. And then I heard from Ava Wild, who is getting ready to get in the ring for multiple promotions. Heard about this young man who was interested in things that we do, radio, wrestling, all that good stuff. So I invited him to sit in. He has joined me. Caden Hanafi. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Awesome. Hi, Caden. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. We got NXT on the screen. It's the Great American Bash. We're not going to have War Games. Not going to have Dusty and the Road Warriors and the Horsemen, but got Karrion Kross and Johnny Gargano, along with Mr. Regal and Samoa Joe, looking ever so dapper. I guess they're going to book Gargano versus Kross. We'll see if Gargano wins. You know, there's been the hints about Karrion Kross being desired to be on the Raw or SmackDown rosters. So I don't know. I guess if he loses the title, that might be a sign. We saw Bronson Reed drop the North American title last week to Shane Strickland or Isaiah Swerve Scott. So, and we know both Bronson and Karrion have been working main event matches in Dark for Raw. I think Raw and SmackDown, actually. So we'll see as WWE gets ready to send Raw and SmackDown both back on the road, starting on the 16th. In Houston with SmackDown. So, which one do you have a preference, Kross or Gargano? Have you watched much of NXT?
I don't watch a lot of NXT currently, but I keep up with it as much as I can. If I'm taking a winner, I take Gargano and I try to reset NXT. I don't think Kross is a good fit in NXT. I don't think he fits their sort of more independent wrestling, high flyer, fast paced style.
Yeah, he's kind of. I get that. I mean, this is the guy that spent a lot of time in the Indies, and of course, it was in TNA or Impact Wrestling for a time. I met him at Cauliflower Alley Club a couple years ago. Great guy, and so yeah. But it seems like he is destined for either Raw or SmackDown. Probably could hit either main event scene pretty immediately. Let's hope they keep the entrance, because that's been the big conflict about, main event, all they did was play the theme and he walked out. Mm-hmm. You didn't have Scarlett, screaming fall and pray. You didn't have the pyro, the smoke or anything. Granted, I think maybe that was because it was main event, which, up until about a month ago, I forgot it still existed, but apparently it's still on Hulu. So, this will be fun. So, L.A. Knight, the man formerly known as Eli Drake, $1 Million Championship rematch against Cameron Grimes. If Grimes loses, he becomes L.A. Knight's butler. That should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. I love L.A. Knight. And Cameron Grimes is fantastic as well. Mm-hmm. It was great seeing the $1 Million Man on NXT doing his thing. So, I mean, not to mention seeing that $1 Million Championship, which has so much history.
Yeah, one of the best looking championships in the industry, in my opinion. It's such a good looking belt.
It is. I mean, it was done as such, just as a lark, just because they needed something to bring in the man then known as Stunning Steve Austin, and to bring him in as the ringmaster. And, of course, before that, it was Ted's, way to circumvent not being the world champion after he tried to buy the world championship from Andre the Giant after that Saturday night's main event, the twin Hebners. So, but yeah, so now that's the, what they say, he's the third man not named DiBiase to hold that title. Because you had Virgil, you had course, Steve Austin, and now you got L.A. Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that should be fun. You got to imagine they're going to give the win to L.A. Knight, and we're going to have, I'd say, at least 4 weeks of Cameron Grimes as a butler. Maybe they find a way to make him lose all his money or something, through the stock market or whatever. I don't know. It's I'm interested in seeing it. It is definitely more interesting than what they got on Mondays. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those few that I get bored with Fridays. I get bored with SmackDown a little bit.
SmackDown is Raw, but on a smaller, condensed scale. And it's even, in my opinion, it's gotten a little worse than Raw recently, considering the rematches. Every single match at this point is just a retread of what we've been seeing for 2 or 3 months, at least since WrestleMania. Yeah, Bailey Bianca has been going on since November. It started at Survivor Series, and it's now July now, and hopefully it's finally over. But SmackDown is rematch central at this point.
You're right. You're absolutely right. They have, especially Raw. Raw has been doing repeats and re-repeats, and they just cannot come up with anything. Anything different or original. We joked last week when they did that Battle Royal. We joked that was just to show who else was left on the roster, because after they made so many cuts, it was kind of like, okay, who's left? All right, these guys, let's put them in the mat. All right, so there we go. We will mark tonight 25 years ago tonight. Good God, I'm old. How old are you, Caden?
I'm 18.
Jeez. You weren't even born yet. This scares me. 25 years ago tonight, Hogan drops the big leg on Savage and declares him and Nash and Hall the new world order of wrestling in what had to be easily the most shocking event in wrestling history. I mean, you had Hulk Hogan, who had taken a hiatus because he was filming, what was it, Thunder in Paradise at the time. It was a weekly, hourly drama show. Who was showing it? WB or something silly like that. And admittedly, the Hulkamania thing had gotten tired. The Hulkster had gotten tired. There's Justin Simmons, who probably isn't tired. But it was getting to where people were tired of Hogan. So, hi, Justin. What? We saved your seat. You got to turn your mic on first. There you go.
Thought about it.
On
the way in the car.
Wait. Okay. Who are we?
I know what this is.
Who are we wearing? By the way, who is it? Argentina?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I got that right.
Very
How
good,
about
Steve.
that? New
Very
soccer guy gets the jersey right, or the kit. Forgive the terminology.
But
by the way, Justin, Caden, Justin.
I know how this works, though, Stu.
Well, say hi to Caden. Be nice.
Hi, Caden. I know how this works, though.
What?
So
what works?
this is my replacement.
No,
because you're thinking it's going to be like Demolition, huh? You think this is going to be an axe, smash, and crush situation
If
we got going on here?
He may be Jeff Howe's replacement. We haven't replaced Jeff Howe in like 4 years.
I don't know.
Jeff's too busy, breaking all the Longhorn news stories for 24/7, and then, and now
I have Stu call me,
co-hosting with Craig Way on
lets
Light
me
the
know
Tower.
that this new kid's coming on through. I think Brother Love should have been the one that made this announcement.
So silly. How you been, man?
That way I understand. Rule number 1 of the show is that you'll never know what's a shoot and what is kayfabe, because they both interact unless you listen to the show.
Most of it's pretty funny. Wait, how you been?
Tired.
How much play-by-play have you done in the last 5 days? Have you done? Did you do anything this weekend, or did you actually get to enjoy the 4th of July?
Oh, I just watched soccer.
Ah,
And then on 4th of July, I didn't really do
I
anything.
I watched a little bit of Ukraine and England. England whooped up on Ukraine, didn't they?
Yeah. But
Man.
the match tomorrow, yeah. It's going to be a
So
good one.
tomorrow is England and Italy?
No.
No. England and who?
I forgot who they are playing. It's supposed to be
Today was Italy and Spain.
yes, which was fantastic.
And
but
who won? I missed the end.
Italy on penalties.
Italy. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Penalty kicks. So Italy goes to the finals. Tomorrow it's England and I forget who.
Somebody
I
that
could look
nobody
it up,
expected to get that far.
Yeah. So and they
But they have
will
a
play
really
for the
good-
right to face Italy in the finals.
Yeah, but they have a
of
really
Euro
good chance.
2020.
Like they should win.
Yeah.
But
So.
it's the English, so they might not win.
It is the English. So I've been busy getting ready for Big 12 American football media days. So by the way, I'll be up there with the Horn Wednesday and Thursday with a brief break to drive back so I can make it to AEW Dynamite
I mean, you
next
and me.
Wednesday.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna be traveling back too. That same. I don't know about the same day. Maybe the day before. Let's try and make it-
I'll be if I with a little luck, I should get to the arena around. I think they're saying bell time's 6, which means they're planning an hour-long taping of dark matches.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm gonna try to get
Yeah,
there.
Dark Elevation. I think they're going to tape an hour before.
Are they?
What they've
Okay.
been told.
And that's what we were wondering about. I mean, I guess we'll see what they do with Miami, but that was part of what we've been wondering about. Is they've been booking like tonight on Dark they had a bunch of matches, and then last night on Elevation had a bunch of matches, and you wonder what that's going to look like now. They're going back on the road, but we'll see. So anyway, so tonight we're going to start out with we'll reminisce about the NWO, and then I want both of you to think about what do you want to see more or less of as both WWE and AEW hit the road, and especially looking at those acts or performers that are that may surprisingly be over. Those acts that may be surprisingly not over. I mean, it's gonna be kind of a crystal ball type of thing where
Get your own notes, man.
man, be nice to the kid. He's 18 years old.
Just giving him a hard
You're
time,
old enough,
man.
You're almost old enough to be his father.
This is how I know that
I'm
you
old
guys,
enough to be his grandfather.
This is how I know that you're plotting a coup against me because you guys both wear glasses.
Coup.
That's how I knew you
Coup.
guys already started matching. You guys
Really?
probably already bought the matching
coup.
tights, you know?
We will not do a second segment tonight because I have that planned for tomorrow.
What?
I will be talking to Mike Bennett from the
Oh.
OGK.
Wow,
He's
long
going
time
after-
no see.
He's going after the Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Jonathan Gresham this Sunday at Ring of Honor Best in the World.
Because
So-
what was it? We had a chance to talk with him like right before he went back to the E. Or was it with Maria?
It was Maria, I think.
But I know it was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of them. So anyway, get Mike Bennett. And then a separate. He won't be on the radio show. It'll be kind of a separate podcast. Bringing back Dak Draper, because as I mentioned, he told me once that I'm doing the Lord's work in doing sports radio. So just for that alone, Dak Draper is welcome anytime he wants.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep the kid's spirit up still about that.
Well, I'm doing that on Sunday. Well, no, or Thursday.
No, I
may
about
try to get a.
I meant about radio in general.
Well, I said it's the Lord's work being in sports radio.
I don't. Caden, did you understand what he just said? Like, do you know where he was getting at?
Dak Draper thinks it is great that Justin and I work in sports radio. So,
But
and he loves that. So,
which is great. But I mean, did you already preface everything in sports radio to him already?
we'll talk a little sports to him. I mean, I'll talk a little sports.
No,
You mean
no,
to
but-
Caden or to Dak?
No. Caden, like, did you tell
Okay.
him, like, hey, if you're going to do this, just remember, like, it's better to come in rich. Because there's,
What
like,
the
no
world
money.
are you talking about?
in sports radio, there's
Now
no.
you're confusing me.
Wait, it's hard to make money in sports radio.
Oh Lord, no. Yeah, you're right.
That's why I was saying. That's why
It's
I was
worse
like,
than-
rule number one, come in rich.
It's
much easier.
It's worse than working in state government. So anyway,
That's not high praise, dude.
I know
That's
it's
not really high praise.
I
at
know
all.
it's not.
Okay,
Believe me,
but
I
before
can-
we start-
I can speak from both.
Let me ask. Okay, Caden. So the name of the show is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. So what's like your sport?
Hockey.
Hockey? Hockey?
Okay.
Hockey and football are my two sports.
Okay.
But why hockey?
My dad's from Montreal,
Oh, nice.
so I'm a big hockey fan, and Montreal's in the Stanley Cup finals right now, so
Yes.
it's kind of my dream.
Yes, they are
Yeah, the Abs.
against Tampa Bay, right?
Yes.
Tampa Bay going for a repeat.
Yeah.
You weren't even born the last time they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
1993.
Yes, I remember.
Yikes.
I played it on the video game on
And
the
who-
Super Nintendo
Now,
when I first got it. That's how old ago it was.
Now this might be one reason to replace you. He is sporting the burnt orange, so you know.
Oh, well,
whereas
I mean,
you are an Aggie. So.
you're already friends with Chad though, so that already negates
yeah,
that.
but Chad's a level-headed Aggie. Don't you ever listen to the intro of Shirts and Skins?
When was the last
when
time-
Trey Elling, he calls a level-headed Aggie who will speak your existence.
I
your
said,
death into
I already
existence.
tell you, I'm a true 2%er.
I know you.
A true 2%er.
So I assume you're a Longhorn fan. Are you an NFL fan?
I'm an NFL fan. Yep.
Do you have a team?
So my teams are a little iffy.
Okay.
Wait,
So-
wait. You have teams?
Which means you're a Cowboys
Wait. Wait, you have teams?
because they're iffy.
Teams?
I don't
like
have-
plural?
I don't have a specific team that I like.
Okay.
I have different players that I like, and then I have
Whoa.
my teams that I do enjoy more than others. So my favorite team overall is the Texans currently,
Okay.
but I grew up in a household that loved the New England Patriots,
All right.
but I was more of a Tom Brady fan and a Gronk fan than anybody else because I'm not a
So-
big fan of Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft.
Okay.
So now I support them in Tampa, but my
Okay.
real number one team is Houston.
Okay. All right. I understand. Sounds good.
I'll allow it. But multiple is this like the new Gen Z thing? Like where
Hey,
they like
you
know,
mentioned
get, like,
Chad. Chad's both a Cowboys fan and a Buccaneers fan. So
how?
that's just the way he is. It's Chad.
Like I understand if you want to be like, hey, I appreciate the creamsicle uniforms of the Bucko Bruce
and
era,
I think that's what Chad leans
which is
on,
totally
so
understandable. That's a great looking uniform
So.
in retrospect.
It's
But
true.
if you're going to root for a team, like if they both play each other, who do you root for? You know, that's what I want to know because it's like I don't root for anybody else when the Dallas Cowboys are playing them because that is my team.
So when I have teams playing each other that I like, it depends on the situation. So if the Texans haven't won a game this season, kind of similar to what happened last year, then I'd want them to lose because
Okay.
it gets my team in a better it gets my other team in a better position.
So you're telling me that there's a bunch of Detroit Lion fans out there that secretly love another team like they have like two families.
Kind of. I'm just not a diehard fan of really any team in the NFL. The only two teams I'm a diehard fan of are the Longhorns and the Habs.
Wow, those are
There we
two
go.
really like different.
There you go.
I mean, like I know there's a club hockey team at UT, but wow,
There is.
there is.
So all right, let's see if we can make some radio magic. Here we go.
This is Juice Robinson, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
It is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. How are you?
Feeling like the middle child today, Stu. Feeling
I
like the
guess
middle
you
step.
You are kind of a middle child. We've got a guest. We've got a third man for the tag team. We could go
I
for a
didn't
trios
realize we
title.
were having a trios match coming up soon.
So I was approached by Jordan Wahlberger from Fight Night, and again by Ava Wild, recent Rhodes Wrestling Academy graduate, about this young man who wanted to learn a little bit about radio and wrestling,
So you
and
wanted
know
to be,
some wrestling.
so you wanted to be poor.
He wanted more. That's right.
Dang.
And so I invited him. I said, "Why don't you come in, sit in with us one of these nights?" We figured out the night, and so now I can introduce to you Caden Hanafi. Caden, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Caden, you are 18 years old. have you graduated from high school, right?
I just graduated, and I'll be attending the University of Florida to study sports journalism.
Nice.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Nice. Be a Gator. What high school did you go to?
Round Rock High School.
So you're a Dragon.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Okay. They beat the Lake Travis Cavaliers in that first round playoffs.
We did.
I was there.
I was gonna say, yeah, Mr. Sidelines,
Which
Soccer
yes,
Stew.
Sidelines. Yeah, I can now say Soccer Stew because of all my Austin FC stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Austin FC use my audio?
I did see that.
I was very proud of that. Dennis De La Pena from Fox 7 sent me a text saying things. I was like, wow, all right. I'm somebody.
Well, I mean, you always could get stuff for the radio, so
well, yeah,
no doubt
but
that other
this
people were going to use your stuff.
Well, it was one of those things where the wonderful people at Austin FC, their PR people, asked if they could use my audio. I said, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
They did, and gave me credit, and I was very pleased to do it, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. So, Caden, welcome.
Thank you.
So today,
be easy on him, folks. He's an Abs fan.
that's right. So 25 years ago this week.
Ooh, are we playing the game?
In fact, if you're listening to us on the Horn on Wednesday night, you'll be 25 years ago tonight. This happened.
Hulkamania! Hulk Hogan is here! Hulk Hogan's here! Hulk Hogan is in the building! You damn right he is! Go get him, Hulkster! Yeah, but whose side is he on? What are you talking about? Whose side is he on? What are you talking about? Hogan arrived. Hook. What is he doing? Oh, my God! Is he the third man? He's the third man! What the hell is going on here? Hulk Hogan has betrayed WCW. He is the third man. Look at this picture. Oh, my God. What the hell is going on? Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Hulk Hogan turned his back on the fans for the first time ever, drops the big leg on Macho Man Randy Savage. WCW Bash at the Beach, July 7th, 1996. Audio courtesy of WWE. Tony Schiavone, or Schiavone as Chris Jericho calls him.
Yeah, all wrestlers have different names.
That's right. Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the Dream himself, American Dream Dusty Rhodes, on the call there. A few minutes later, Mean Gene Okerlund, the late great Mean Gene Okerlund, gets in the ring. Wants to find out what's going on with Hulk Hogan.
I have been with you for so many years. For you to join up with the likes of these two men absolutely makes me sick to my stomach. And I think that these people here and a lot of other people around the world have had just about enough of this man, and you want to put yourself in this group? You've got to be kidding me.
Well, the first thing you gotta realize, brother, is this right here is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
And so it began.
For life.
The NWO was born on July 7th, 1996, forever changing professional wrestling.
It warped my fragile little mind.
It warped my fragile, not so little mind.
I'm like a teenager, so I grew up in the prime of Hulkamania. I had the toys. I had the red and yellow stuff. I had the wrestling buddies. But you have to give the WCW credit. For as much as the WWF, WWE, since they won the quote-unquote war, they rewrote history.
Yes.
And they love to tell you about the WWF Attitude Era. But the whole real start of wrestling getting popular again was this moment of the NWO and Hogan turning, the ultimate money-making moment.
It was, it was the one heel turn, kind of like with John Cena. The one heel turn nobody could have ever expected. Now, to understand it, you think back to the mid-'90s. Hogan had just joined WCW. He'd won the world title and then lost the world title.
Caden wasn't even born yet.
Caden, you weren't even a glimmer in your daddy's eye yet.
Not even close. So do you know this story through YouTube videos and stuff, or
I read Brian Alvarez's book that he released a few years ago that kind of got a lot into this, and I've heard stories from everybody that's a wrestling fan about this situation, and I know the massive impact that this had.
Oh yeah, this was. I mean, when he turned heel, and you know, at that time, admittedly, the Hulkamania thing had gotten a little stale. He was on hiatus,
just a tad.
He was on hiatus to do TV.
Oh, he was shooting Thunder in Paradise.
That's right, and he came back. That was the first time we saw him back in WCW. He walks down that ramp at Bash of the Beach and changes history. You look at the impact, like you said, that moment in the NWO had. It forced WWE, then the WWF, to completely change their way of thinking. You know, that was the whole 83 weeks that, you know, Nitro beat Raw.
Well, the Vince McMahon speech.
Where
he comes out and says that things are going to be way different.
Yeah.
He just told you straight up that they're going to change the way that they presented their product in retaliation. He doesn't say that part, but in retaliation to the way that the NWO struck a chord with all these wrestling fans, because it was the hottest thing going.
It was.
Everybody was very intrigued. The one question I have is, do you remember when it got cool? Because with the start of the NWO also gave rise to the cool heel, where fans, you know, there was always fans of Ric Flair. There was always going to be fans of the Freebirds when they were heels.
There were fans of the Horsemen back in the day.
Exactly, right? But those were like the really smart fans. But all of a sudden, everybody loved the anti-hero, so to speak. So your Shawn Michaels, DX, Stone Cold Steve Austin, NWO. And all of a sudden, that became the new good guy.
That's right. And in fact, you think about it, that was the same year that we got Stone Cold winning the King of the Ring, and you know, Austin 316 was born.
But it doesn't go overnight like the WWF likes us to
think
it does.
It
took like 2 more years after that.
The moment I thought it was like cool was the time I walked into what was then Foley's before it got bought out.
Foley's, man, I remember that place.
Bought out by Macy's, I think.
Who knows?
This was back. May have been 97, 98. I'm walking into Foley's department store at Highland Mall here in Austin.
Highland Mall, man.
And there are NWO T-shirts.
Yeah.
At Foley's. That's when I said, okay, this is something. This is long before the Young Bucks are selling shirts at you know, Hot Topic and Bullet Club and all the.
Well, they had NWO shirts at Hot Topic.
The Bullet Club needs to thank the NWO for what they did. I mean, and for that matter, DX the same way. You had a lot of those factions that have come since. Now, I will always say that the NWO has to thank the Four Horsemen, because that's still, in my mind, the greatest faction that ever lived. Because they're the only, as far as I know, that's the only faction where every member of the faction held top titles in the territory.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't really have any arguments, but I guess my other question would be, who would be the second best stable of all time then? If they're the
probably
best.
NWO.
You think the NWO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you give me?
That's kind of hard.
Caden, you're. I mean, again, you're younger than both of us.
And let me ask you real quick. What era of WWE would you say that you grew up in? Would you say you're like Ruthless Aggression would be even before your time too, right?
Not even that. I can give you the exact story that got me into wrestling. It was Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, fall of 2017.
Wow.
Oh, good God.
The first whole SmackDown I believe I ever watched was when Kevin Owens beat up Vince McMahon in the ring.
This is crazy.
That's what got me into wrestling.
See, this is what we always ask on this show. It's like, you know, we've pretty much have seen every possible thing that you can do in a wrestling ring, right? I can't think of some new things.
I mean,
I'm shocked when I see new things.
I saw the first War Games. I saw the scaffold matches.
But now
Road
I see
Warriors
why.
and Midnight
First,
Express.
I thought you brought him just to replace me, but now I see why you brought him in. Because now we understand. Now it's a good perspective to understand. It's like, hey, that new silly thing that we think is just like passe, that we've already seen before, that we feel that they put no thought in, totally won you over.
By the way, so WWE apparently is celebrating.
I was going to say Kevin Owens going to a table.
They're celebrating that.
Is he still the best in the world?
Kevin Owens?
No, Shane McMahon.
Oh, Lord, I hope
Remember
not.
when he was best
Shane
in the
McMahon
world?
hey, there's Alex Zane. Or what do they call him now? Trey Baxter. I guess Trey Baxter.
Yeah, Christian Blake, formerly known.
Yeah. Seen him before. I want to say I've seen him in ROW. I've seen him around. Carmelo Hayes. They're doing the breakout tournament.
Mm-hmm. Carmelo, I think he was Christian Casanova.
You may be right. This guy I definitely have seen. And Andre Chase.
I know Blake Christian was recently wrestling on New Japan Strong.
Yeah. Josh Briggs from Arizona. So they're doing this breakout tournament, kind of like what they did the last time, which Jordan Miles, ACH won.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, like, how come everybody's suit came from JCPenney's?
I
then they
know.
showed this guy, and it's like, no, Jiro's did not.
Jiro.
That suit reminds me of Hiromu Takahashi.
Little bit.
Just a tad. Did he ever tell you the story of how he met the ace?
We'll talk about that in the break.
That was a cool story,
Joe
man.
Casey.
Man.
I've seen him.
Yes, I was like,
Beyond.
I know
maybe?
who that is. Yeah.
Odyssey Jones.
I've heard
That's
of
an
him.
interesting. That's a look. I like him. He's big. He's big and bulky.
They have him listed at 405.
I believe
That's like
it.
Vader size.
And Duke Hudson from Adelaide, Australia. I've been to Adelaide, Australia. 6'5", 270. Okay, that's some biggins.
Well, they did say that they wanted to add some more size. So
Well, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, yeah, the boss, Vinny himself, was at the Performance Center. So,
looking for beef.
Kevin Nash is going to be on the next Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I think that premieres this weekend. So
that is one
part of the WWE's celebration of the 25th anniversary of the NWO.
I'm looking forward to seeing.
That should be fun.
I'm a big Kevin Nash fan.
Yeah, I am too. He was recently at SW Fury, their last taping in Irving. I had missed that, but hopefully he'll come back soon. All right, so let's switch gears from what happened 25 years ago to what's happening starting this week
in Caden's lifetime.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That was my last. That's my last ageism joke. I promise.
So WWE and AEW are hitting the road.
On the road again.
Starting, if you're listening to us on Wednesday night, starting tonight. Otherwise, starting tomorrow night with AEW Dynamite in Miami at the James L. Knight Center. So let me pose this question. We have been through a year plus of Thunderdome matches, Performance Center matches, Daly's Place. By the way, did you like the Daly's Place send-off?
Oh, yeah.
Last week on that was really neat. That was, man, I've forgotten half the moments that had happened.
Yeah. It was great until the last line of the show.
Poor JR. And I love Jim Ross. So, look, it happens. He's worked for them for 30-plus years. So, not 30.
Can I say, it's kind of funny because I have, like, all the past in-ring and behind-the-mic experience. But, like, as a play-by-play broadcaster, I make mistakes all the time.
We all do.
But see, do.
I've heard Bucky Godbolt call us the other station across the town.
I've called teams the wrong names.
Yes,
and that school is not even in the game. But the fact of the matter is, it's like I don't understand why the wrestling fans were so quick to jump on him when this guy is basically our generation of Gordon Soley.
Because they don't know better. Because they're stupid.
Like
sometimes.
that one was just kind of like, okay, guys, come on. I get, the internet wrestling community will do what they do, but that one was reaching. Yeah, because this guy's a legend.
Oh, he's beyond legend. He is the iconic voice. He is up there with Gordon Soley.
It's like you wouldn't correct Ric Flair if you mispronounced your name, would you? Of course not. So you won't correct JR.
So anyway, I pose this question to you. Having both, this is going to be limited to Raw, SmackDown, and AEW Dynamite. What do you want to see more or less of as they hit the road?
I want to see more Riddle.
More Riddle.
His thing,
okay.
I got stuck having to watch Raw live the previous iteration because, there was no sports on that Monday.
Right.
But his stupid interview won me over.
Yeah.
I thought he was brilliantly funny. And then his in-ring work, he really sold the angle. I didn't know if he was going to be ready for the push that they were giving him, but he's clearly ready to be a main eventer there.
Oh, absolutely. Caden, what more or less of you want to see as they hit the road?
I guess it goes hand in hand with more and less. I want more fresh matches and less rematches on both shows. We've gotten really in a state of Groundhog Day at this point, really is the best way to put it. Everything's the exact same since WrestleMania. And even then, you're still having WrestleMania matchups going now. So I want new things. And
that's been, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, to borrow the phrase from Conrad Thompson, at the very least, WWE allegedly has been waiting to debut new stuff for when they hit the road again. So we'll see if that happens. Let me ask you this. Here's okay. The performer or act that you think will be surprisingly over. Caden, let's start with you.
Surprisingly over was, I wrote down a few just to have some options here.
That's
but
okay.
Surprisingly over was a little harder for me to pick. But I'm going to say I think that Santana and Ortiz will be the most over tag team in AEW once they go back on the road.
That'd be good. I like the fact they've been bringing Conan in, kind of give that, tie that history in. Of course, 4-time former Impact Tag Team Champions. We've seen them several times here in Austin, both with AEW and with Inspire Pro. So, Justin, surprisingly over.
Oh, well, AEW, Jungle Boy. I wasn't expecting him to get pushed like that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with WWE. Which I think WWE is probably that's the bigger question.
Mm-hmm.
Which act is going to be surprisingly over? In other words, the one they're not expecting a lot of cheers, but is going to get a lot of cheers.
I mean, there's so many people. First I got to figure out who's on the roster.
yeah, that's true. Let's hope we don't have any cuts.
I'm trying to think of who isn't cut that hasn't been used. Where I'm like, hey, besides Otis. I know everybody likes to bag on Otis. You and Eddie were sending those texts, and I was like, it's just because you guys have beards and you guys are being, pro beard because Otis shaved his.
That's right. Hey, look, I got mine from Ray Rowe or Eric from the Viking Raiders.
I can't say
so
anything. Mine's all 5-day ingrown. I'm gonna have to go and shave.
I think, as much as I hate to say it, because I feel like Otis, they basically turned him into the mid-card heel.
He's kind of going through the portion of his career like Abyss.
Yeah.
Where Abyss went from hardcore monster to corporate suit to lawyer.
We see on
Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, they've surprised me by how over they've been able to stay after the slight breakup.
The New Day, yeah.
And the fact that he delivered a killer promo the other night. I mean,
did.
Both of them, they were so good. I was sold on watching them perform because of the way that they were talking. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm still just kind of curious, who's going to be the guy that's going to challenge
Roman?
The champions?
Yeah, Roman and Bobby. What about you, Caden? Who do you think in WWE is going to be surprisingly over?
I have Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn's going to get a lot of heel heat if they do it correctly, and that's mainly what that is. If they can use him correctly to get the heat that he was previously getting, and he's gotten some heavy ones on him before.
Yeah.
So it's mainly just if they can use him correctly at that point, I think he'll get a lot of heat.
Showing your pro-Canadian bias again, huh?
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
My Montreal boy.
Montreal Canadian
I know, for real,
fan.
You're Quebecois.
All right, so let's go the other way. The surprise performer or the performer or act that will surprisingly not be over. You know where I'm going to go.
I don't know. Now I'm just curious. Where are you going to go?
Oh, I'll go with Alexa Bliss.
How dare you? She's already over.
No.
That doll's more over than most of the acts on the WWE roster.
No.
Yes, it is.
But who's going to be surprisingly not over?
Surprisingly not over that they want that's supposed to get over? Damian Priest.
God, I hope not.
I mean, he's just like,
I love Damien.
I haven't seen much from him except for the.
Well, and again, if you believe the innuendo, he may be nursing a sore back,
which is understandable.
But I hope to see more of him because, seeing what we saw of him as Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, the dude can work. The dude can go, and he's got the look.
Yes, but we've already seen them drop the ball with somebody as talented as Keith Lee, so
True.
it's totally plausible. I'm not saying I want that to happen, but just off the top of my head, when you're really pushing for an answer, I'm like, that would be a guy that really would surprise me not get over. But we already saw what happened with Aleister Black. They just fumbled it. We already saw what happened with Big E. They never really used it. So,
Caden, who do you think is going to be surprisingly not over?
I think WWE has a lot of people that I think won't be over, but I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. I think a lot of fans are kind of sick of him being in the main event picture at this point. He's been in since he's lost his title, he's been in for 6 months. And Drew telling stories, it's going to get booed out of the building.
Okay, interesting. Now, there allegedly, again, rumor innuendo, Drew has even said himself he doesn't want to be in the title picture anymore, which... If you watched Raw, they had the match with him and Jinder Mahal, the former 3MB boys.
Did they even mention that they were former tag team partners?
I think I was flipping back forth between that and Star Wars. So,
Star Wars, which one?
Which one was on at that time? It was I think they were doing episode 9 on TNT.
It's like WWE. You don't even know what Star Wars they're on.
I think it was episode 9. Anyway. I got a feeling they will get their wish, and Drew's not going to be in the title picture. As much as people are saying, they want him to win Money in the Bank, I don't think he will. I don't know who is yet. I mean, I'm leaning Big E, but I don't think they will either, because that's what everybody wants. So they'll go the other way.
It's gonna be Riddle.
That's possible.
Or RKO, or Randy turns on him right there just to get Money in the Bank. That way they set
Well,
up.
Randy can't turn. Randy's not in the match, so it would be just Riddle. Now, Randy could turn on him later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to cost him this.
And then they'll find a way to get it off of Riddle. I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff we find out over the next couple weeks. By the way, couple notes. So AEW Dynamite coming to HB Center at Cedar Park on July 14th. Sold out. Now, there is talk they may release some production tickets. We're waiting to hear about that. So far on that card, Brian Cage will defend the FTW World Championship against our own former Inspire Pro champion, Ricky Starks.
Well, this is a homecoming for Ricky Starks.
It is.
So
it is.
Good to see that he has a title match.
And speaking of Ricky, he and Mark Henry will be doing an AEW meet and greet next Tuesday, July 13th, 11:30 a.m. They will be at the Boys and Girls Club of Austin. That's 6648 Ed Bluestein Boulevard. For those of you here in Austin, that's 183 just south of Manor Road. Again, starts at 11:30 a.m. Tickets and T-shirts will be given away. Plus, you get to meet not only Ricky Starks, but the world's strongest man.
That's awesome.
We may try to get them on, so we'll see. Anyway, looking forward to that. When we come back from this timeout, Ring of Honor's got Best in the World coming up this weekend, and we will talk to Mike Bennett about his shot at the Pure Championship. That's coming up next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Now, as I mentioned, that's not really coming up at the moment because that'll happen tomorrow. But yeah, so by the way, I saw Ricky. So I was at Dustin's school. I was at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy checking out the new class because we got the showcase coming up.
Yes.
Ricky was there, getting back into fighting order. So it was good to see him. He looked good. Plus, we had the Rhodes Wrestling Academy represented on Dark tonight again.
Yeah.
Chad Lennox and Zachariah, the man formerly known as Zach Taylor.
I'm happy for Zach.
I am so thrilled for Zach.
He's been working a lot.
Gave him a big old hug on Saturday.
Throughout the years, grinding away at this.
You and I have called a bunch of his matches.
Yeah, I've
all
worked
over.
a few of them.
Yeah, you worked a few with him throughout Central Texas, so couldn't be happier for Zach. They've got some promising young talent in this second class, and you're going to get to see it. As I mentioned, the showcase will premiere on their YouTube channel on July 24th. I think there's 7 matches on the card right now. And I'm privileged enough to be on the mic for that one, so that'll be fun.
Just a little, right?
It's hey, look, anytime I get to do stuff with Dustin, I'm thrilled. Dustin's my guy. That's why we got. He is the honorary third co-host and our AEW correspondent. So hopefully we'll get him on next week.
I do think it's kind of funny though that it all kind of started, just randomly in a gym somewhere in some East Texas town, and like 30 years later,
what are you talking about?
You
and Dustin?
Yeah.
No,
I'm saying
me and Kevin. That's me and Kevin Von Erich.
No, I'm just saying that you started doing wrestling stuff there, and who would have thought?
Oh, I did a ring. Yes, I was a ring announcer. Yes.
And then you get to do this. I don't know how many years later it's been. I was trying to be dramatic, but
someone asked about that story. I gotta tell it to him.
I was trying to set the mood, but turn on the lights.
Who was it that asked about that story? It was somebody like we know. It may have been Dustin. I need to tell him. Anyway, yes, ring announcing for Kevin Von Erich versus the gentleman Chris Adams at World Class Championship Wrestling in Gladewater, Texas.
And what year was that now?
This would have been spring of 1986.
And we're in 2021.
Yes.
Who can do the quick math? Because that's not my specialty.
35 years.
There you go.
Dang. That's a long time. That's what I was trying to say. See, it's funny how it started then, and it's like full circle. You're like, here you are working with another professional.
If they were having it, this would be my 35-year high school reunion. God.
So are you going to go?
I don't think they're having it. So
you don't think so?
No.
I mean, it's post-COVID now, so I'm assuming that it's a go.
I haven't heard anything.
I figured everybody was bored.
It's going to be. If it's in the fall, it's going to be real hard with me being Cavaliers and Dallas Cowboys, and got a few Austin FC games left, and a few other things. So it's weekends are a little difficult to schedule stuff. So we shall see.
Well, I thought you would just appear on the video, kind of like Shawn Michaels did that one year at the Hall of Fame.
I did that one year. I did that. I did a. We did a. It was a. I forget which union. Oh, we're finding out the charging. They've charged. It's 100%. Who is going to be?
Oh, that's right.
I think we know.
I
think it's been spoiled, but let's see. Teagan Knox.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they said she was working a dark match the other
back.
night. So
yeah, she worked a dark match against Toni Storm.
She's back.
Is this the one with the shiniest of wizards?
Yes.
Okay. And here comes Io Shirai.
It was kind of hard to answer those WWE roster questions because I think there's going to be.
You never know who's going to be on the roster.
Well, not only that, but I think they're going to be really dependent on some fresh, for the lack of the better term, some fresh blood from NXT.
Yeah, well, we've had Vince visit the PC. All right, so we got new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions.
Man, hopefully she could just stay healthy this time. Because
Io Shirai and
Teagan Knox.
Stars. Yeah, you hope Teagan Knox can stay healthy. Hope that knee holds up.
Yeah, she's had 2 tears in one knee and one in the other.
Yeah, that's just like that's just cool.
I mean, that usually means like football career's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but most of those football players return to a life of professional wrestling because of that, anyways.
This is
so
true. We've heard that 1,000 times. Now Teagan Knox just whooping up on Candice LeRae. Not to bring up bad stuff, but you wonder what she thinks of her time with Joey Ryan, the world's cutest tag team.
Which one?
Candice LeRae.
Remember
they were a tag team through the independents for a long time.
It's hard to say because it would just be speculation. But
True.
I'm assuming, we all had I think everybody that ever worked anything with him had to kind of deal with like a little bit of shame because it's just kind of like, everybody was kind of like guilty of letting that perpetuate and thinking it was just like all in good fun or whatever.
There's something I would like to see less of, not necessarily on NXT. Less replays and callbacks, and in case you missed it on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, Raw.
You want less of them?
Less of them. We don't need a reminder coming out at every commercial break.
Like, but is it weird that, like, one of the big things that people always talk about is WWE production, like the way that they produce their wrestling matches with a lot of zooms and shaky cam and stuff like that.
We'd like to see less of that too.
I can't imagine what it would look like without it, because that is the WWE's look.
I know, but I would love to stop seeing shaky cam. It almost makes me a little dizzy watching that.
Because I really was paying attention to it on Monday night, and it really was like zoom in, zoom out, cut away, cut away, cut away again, zoom in, zoom out, shaky cam, shaky cam. I'm like, whoa, is he just saying all this stuff as they shoot? Because that's amazing.
A wonderful friend of the show, Simon Miller from What Culture Wrestling, did a list, top 10 things they want to see less of, and that was definitely on his list. So may have to get Simon back on soon.
Ooh, Caden, let me ask you. So since you're like the young guy, what do you watch, like wrestling wise?
Besides WWE, what else do you watch?
Because
or what do you follow?
Like the last guys I really got into was the OSW review guys. That has been like my go-to, but I'm not really a big like, I watched guys on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, so my main guy is Sean Ross Sapp. I am a massive fan of him and Denise Salcedo.
Just Sapp.
Okay.
Him and Denise Salcedo. I'm a really big fan of both of them. I got to meet them at Double or Nothing a few months ago.
Nice.
So that was a really cool experience for me. And then the other people I watch a good amount of are Wrestle Talk. I really like their content over there too. They do some fun stuff.
I think I appeared on Wrestle Talk once, unintentionally. They did. It was a picture. This was from, oh good Lord, which one was it? AEW and Garland back in December of 19. Took a picture of me and Vicky Guerrero, and that ended up on their show.
Well, definitely better on Wrestle Talk than Wrestle Crap.
Yes, this is true. I like the What Culture guys. I've had Simon Miller on multiple times. Hung out with him quite a bit. I will listen to Wrestling Observer Live via Twitch. We've had Mike Sempervive on the show, as I call him, the voice of reason for that show. I follow Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful. I follow, of course, we good friends with Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. Had him on the show.
I met Nick
times.
Hausman there too as well.
Great guy. I've covered. We've covered shows together. Still trying to get Mike Johnson for PW Insider on. We've been in a press box, press row a few times.
And see,
together.
I feel silly now because I'm just like, well, I really like the guy who does wrestling bios on YouTube. You should check him out. So shout out to Wrestling Bios guy because he makes great videos, especially for people that didn't like. If you didn't live it, he really breaks down like some of the key events that happened in WCW and WWF during the 90s and the earlier periods of time. And if you did live through it, it's a nice little like refresher if you don't want to like, you just got like 20, 15 minutes to kill.
That's true. What independents do you follow? Or do you follow independents?
I used to follow independents. I'm a little bit iffy right now. I just have a lot going on, so I'm not following as closely. But I was really following, it's not technically an independent, but New Japan.
Yep.
I was following Impact as well very closely. I'm still on Impact a little bit. And then GCW every once in a while. I went to a GCW show last year. And
was it the one here?
It was the one here, yeah.
I was the ring-announcer.
Yeah. I've
never been so scared in my life. Gee whiz.
That was a show. So I follow GCW as much as I can, and then different people that I really like. Like I was following Blake Christian really closely since I saw him at that show.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
good.
Before he signed in NXT, and then other people I was following what Leo Rush was doing, and just different guys that I really like. I follow what they do.
Good. Speaking of Impact, I got 80 Upwards coming up on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
For next week's show. Because they got Slammiversary coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say because
so
they have a
big
show coming up.
Yeah. So I'll get to talk to Eddie Edwards. It'll be our second time to talk to Eddie. It'll be fun. Who else I see? So I got Mike Bennett tomorrow. I got Dak Draper on Thursday and got Eddie Edwards on Thursday. So see if I get another Impact.
So you should just like retire so you can just do interviews all day.
I would love to.
And be like what's that?
That's kind of
Conrad?
I would.
Well,
if I could make a tenth of what Conrad gets,
like I
I'm
said,
good.
if you're going to come into this
That
business,
means I
it's
gotta
easier to
learn-
come in rich. See how it comes back
I
full
got to be
circle?
a mortgage broker too, so I got to learn about that.
You
We
won't-
love Conrad.
You'll have time to work on your licensing, I suppose.
I worked with Conrad for the first Starcast.
Well, he is hiring. He was hiring a he was hiring a producer.
Ah, probably needs to be somebody in Bama though.
No, it's remote.
Is it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
It was put out on Twitter a couple of days ago. He's hiring for a producer, and he was like, the big thing was like, you must listen to the podcast, all of them.
See,
So
I've listened to a couple here and there.
He wants you to be familiar with the product, and it's like, that's like
I listen to them every now and again.
I think that's the weird thing though about wrestling. And Caden, like how does it work, especially if Gen Z is supposed to have like less time span, less of an attention span, because I see so many of these guys putting out podcasts on the same network, and I'm just like, who listens to all of this though? I'm sure that they have listeners, but like really who does consume every single bit of this media? Because there's so much from big names that got smart and realized like, hey, I'll just do it myself. And all due respect, that's great, but it's like who actually sits there and listens to all of it? Like, I think Conan has an interesting podcast, but I don't always listen to his podcast. Yeah. I don't go out my way to hear it, but when I do come across it, I like what I hear.
Yeah. What about you? What podcast do you listen to, or do you?
There's a few. I don't really listen to wrestling podcasts anymore since I started doing wrestling podcasting in February.
Oh.
I just didn't have the attention span to listen to anybody else talk about what I've been talking about.
Right? Okay. See, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Plug your podcast.
So it's called Unpopular Review. So it's we mainly do YouTube, and we
Okay.
Yeah. So I usually do the AEW Dynamite reviews, but I'm starting to move on to doing different types of shows, like different top 10 lists. Like I think we're going to do one where we're going to debate the top 10 WWE wrestlers of all time. Like WWE just put out the top 50 list.
Yeah. Who's their top tag team? New Day?
New Day?
Which,
yes, it is.
I love New Day. I think you have to kind of qualify it because you know who I'm going to go with.
This is the part.
But they weren't a pure WWF tag team.
That's
my top tag team. Don't know. It's Road Warriors.
But it's funny. It's funny you brought this up because I was thinking about this on the way here in the car, and this is the part I would clip and put on YouTube. But I just think that the New Day. At first, I thought maybe it's a little silly, but then I thought about their body of work and everything they accomplished and how long they actually have been wrestling. It's been a good while. And when you really just break down what they've been able to do, they're definitely right up there in that conversation to where they could be the top tag team. And, before it's all said and done, they might end up as the top tag team of all time, no matter how that trio will break out. And the reason I say that is because for so many years, we've been watching greatness. Tom Brady. Nobody ever wanted to elect him the GOAT until maybe this last Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure he should have been the GOAT like 2 Super Bowl wins ago beforehand. Nobody wants to give LeBron James his props, even though he carried a Cleveland Cavaliers team to the finals at age 22, and he just won the finals at age 36, or age 35. So sometimes we're watching greatness right before us, and we can't admit it. And maybe the New Day really is that tag team if you go down and break out like how they made all their wins.
And I get that. My only caveat to this is the simple fact that the New Day, while they're probably the top tag team in WWE, haven't it's hard to quantify it. It's hard to compare it because the Road Warriors did it in the AWA, NWA, WWF, New Japan, Dudley Boys.
Yeah. Which is
all 3 of those, plus New Japan, plus Impact, plus ECW.
I totally
they didn't do AWA.
I totally understand all of that. But you can't penalize the New Day for not having the opportunity of coming up through the territory system or how time was WWE.
I agree. That's why I see it's almost an apples and oranges type of it's like it's like the debate who's the better world champion, John Cena or Ric Flair.
But if you're talking about just strictly under the WWE umbrella, the Legion of Doom may have had like 2 tag team runs.
Right. Legion of Doom made their name outside of WWE.
Exactly. But, I mean, when you think about top WWE tag teams of all time, obviously the Road Warriors are always going to be in that conversation.
They'll be in the conversation,
But,
sure.
you know, you think, and the Steiner brothers deserve a mention, even though they didn't do a whole lot there, just because they were awesome, right?
Yep.
But it's going to be what? Heart Foundation,
Yeah.
Demolition, maybe the British Bulldogs. And so the competition really isn't that stacked against them when you think about the New Day, because it's like, what, the Smoking Guns during 1995 and 1996?
Right. It's one of those things
The
where,
Headbangers?
there's not... you're not going to... I mean,
you know, some of those tag teams started getting pretty...
top 10.
Yeah, they started getting pretty thin throughout the New Generation era and the Attitude era. So it's like, you know...
Yeah, like I said, if you go WWE solely,
yeah,
yes, absolutely. I think that case can be made.
like it's not that far-fetched.
even above the Dudleys, because Dudleys made their name in ECW.
Ooh, that's tough though, because the Dudleys did give us the TLC match, but they couldn't do
They
that
did.
by themselves.
Along
Obviously,
with Edge and Christian, along with the Hardys.
Yeah,
that's another
It's the
tag
du-
team.
yeah,
That's who I say is number one is the Hardys. For me, if you want to be one of the greatest, you have to do something that's going to innovate. And I think the Hardys did a lot more innovating than the New Day. The New Day innovated merch-wise and being able to make a ton of money off of every different venture they wanted to go into. But they didn't do a lot, in my opinion, in the ring that made them stand out from a team like the Usos, or you got another team coming up at the same time, the Young Bucks. Their style doesn't stand out to me.
Right, I get that.
Oh, whoa. Their style doesn't stand out. Like
Whose style? The
New
New
Day?
Day?
Yeah, because you talk about like in ring, like they weren't jumping off of ladders and they weren't trying to destroy their own bodies in the middle of these car crashes that were deemed wrestling matches. But I mean, Kofi Kingston, the Royal Rumble spot is his innovation. The pancake spot.
True.
The pancakes themselves was an innovation. Who else could have got pancakes over but the New Day?
No, that's true.
And you think about what they brought, the fun. They brought the fun back in like almost like
And
and
that's where the New Day beats the Hardys is like and you know me, I'm a fun guy. I want fun. I want more and more fun. So that's where I will take the New Day over the Hardys. The Hardys, obviously, in ring, they set up a lot of the stuff that New Day did.
Yeah, of course,
or does.
But the trombone,
not to mention,
you got trombone over.
Not to mention, I mean, and I will treasure this as long as I live. Seeing them 24 hours after wrestling the Young Bucks in a ladder match, turn right around, return to WWE at WrestleMania 33 in another ladder match, and when they're what was it, the seventh tag title. So pop when they came out, and New Day played it beautifully.
Oh yeah.
Because they were dressed like they were going to wrestle. They acted like they were going to step out, and all of a sudden you hear the music. I mean, Camping World Stadium in Orlando exploded. That was just about the biggest pop that night.
Easily. Everybody marked out.
I mean, I was
the Hardy Boys.
I was losing it. I'm going. I was just with these guys 24 hours prior. I got the picture to prove it. So yeah, that was a fun. So. All right, let's do segment 3 real quick, and then maybe we can continue a few discussions. All right, Twitch guys, Twitch YouTube, I gotta mute you. Remember, because I can't play the music on the thing. So here we go. Let's do that and that.
I'm a bad boy.
Hey, this is the bad
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons, Caden Haddafi sitting here with me. We got a full slate for independent wrestling this week. We got to let you know about. And we are going to do just that. Starting with DFW All Pro Wrestling presenting Cartel World Order Friday at American Legion Post 655 in Haltom City. Bell time 7:30 p.m. Tino Valentino, Jason Taylor, Erica Torres, Nova Phoenix among those scheduled to appear. That's DFW All Pro Wrestling Friday night in Haltom City. Lions Pride Sports brings you Friday Night Fight Night Friday at the Lions Den in Bryan. Bell time 8 p.m. Drake Durden, Matthias, Xavi Shulo, and more. That's Lions Pride Sports Friday night in Bryan. Game Changer Wrestling coming to the Lone Star State with not one but two events. By the way, both of these are available via Fight TV. Fight Club Houston, Friday at the Houston Premier Arena in Houston. Bell time 8 p.m. Nick Gage, Joey Janela, Gino Medina, and Effie. And then Saturday night, You Only Die Once at the Irving Arena in Dallas. Bell time 8 p.m. Nick Gage, Joey Janela, Schlack, the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson, and Allie Catch schedule appear. That's Game Changer Wrestling here in the Lone Star State. And then Reality of Wrestling presents Live Pro Wrestling Saturday night at the World Gym Arena in Texas City. Bell time 7 p.m. Ruthless Ryan Davidson, Fly Def, Will Allday, Rachel Rose, and more. That's Reality of Wrestling this Saturday night in Texas City. As we always say, be safe. If you feel the need, wear your mask. But get out and support some independent wrestling while you're at it. Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, 2 events.
Yeah, it's good to see.
In Dallas and Houston.
Glad that Allie Catch gets a little bit of a homecoming.
Yeah, we get to see I haven't seen the whole thing, but she is apparently metamorphosized. Is that a good word?
Yes.
From Alley Cat to Alley Catch.
Yeah, I remember when she first kind of started out, just real randomly, talked to her before this whole odyssey of her career, and it's kind of just funny because I just followed her on Twitter, but she was trying to get that gimmick over, and it caught on. She had all the merch, and she started gaining a lot of fans, and then we talked about Hogan and the NWO, and then she kind of makes this switch.
Yes. And
everybody's even more intrigued by it. So I'm really happy for her. And I mean, she's one of those wrestlers that, man, she's done stuff that I would never imagine trying to do because,
oh Lord,
yeah, I mean, she's just on a different level. So good luck to her, and hopefully her star continues to rise.
Considering the fact we saw her beginnings here in Austin,
exactly. So
between AAPW, Inspire, Pro Wrestling Texas at the time. I think she did a dark match for Wrestle Circus time or two.
Yeah, but I mean, she had to, she traveled. She had to move to the Midwest and get her name out there, and it's paying off little by little.
Couple of notes pass on. Unfortunately, the Patriot, Del Wilkes, was a big star in Global Wrestling Federation, ended up in WWE and WCW. Passed away last week at the age of 59 due to a heart attack. Memories of the Patriot.
I mean, I don't really have any of those Trooper Del Wilkes stories because I just remember watching it in passing. But I was a fan, the Patriot gimmick as a kid, and obviously the theme song is Kurt Angle's song now, but it was his song first, and
it was.
I was kind of surprised that he really didn't get a bigger push in WWE at that time because it was during the time where Bret Hart was anti-American,
right?
And the whole Hart Foundation 2.0 was anti-American, and he had a good look. He was built, chiseled, legit, 6'2", 6'3".
Was a former all-conference. Was it offensive line at South Carolina?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe injuries. Obviously, he died. Passed away young, unfortunately. So,
Kane, do you ever see the Patriot?
I don't have. I haven't seen any of his matches, but yeah, I agree. I thought he would have gotten a bigger push back then, especially with the Bret Hart storylines. So yeah, unfortunate.
Also, Terry Funk. This is a report came out on from Don Morocco on his podcast, confirmed by Mike Johnson, PW Insider. Terry Funk might be suffering from dementia a little bit. We know his health has been going downhill lately, especially ever since his wife died a couple years ago.
Well,
he is still in Amarillo, but now in assisted living, I believe. The greatest thing I can remember Kurt Hayes, our former general manager for the radio station. Of course, his father was the legendary Lord Alfred Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
So when Lord Alfred Hayes got his first wrestling gig in the United States, they moved from England to Amarillo to wrestle for Terry and Dory Funk. Talk about a culture shock there. Go from jolly old England to West Texas.
Well, depending on the part of England you're from, if you're part from like a village, Amarillo wouldn't seem too different.
Yeah.
You're just replacing horses with sheep and vice versa.
Well, this is true. We do wish the best to the Funker, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, one of the absolute icons, especially when it comes to Texas wrestling.
I wish he was on Twitter, so because people sometimes pass on and you hear all the stories about how great they were, but nobody ever tells them while they're here. So if you got a good story about Terry Funk, maybe this is the time to make sure that he gets a chance to hear it.
I bet we'll hear some here coming up soon. Jimmy Uso was arrested for DUI in Florida per TMZ Sports. Had a .208 blood alcohol content. That's 2.5 times the legal limit.
Mm-hmm. I'm impressed that you could drink that much.
That's a lot of drinking.
Sadly impressed.
This is his third,
Fourth.
Fourth,
something like that.
Let's just hope he gets the help he needs to address those problems. That's not a road you want to be going down, especially if you're still trying to be a WWE superstar.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be drinking and driving, period.
No,
but
do not.
Yeah, but I mean, like, this guy's in the middle of a big push.
Yeah, that's the ironic thing.
And it's like here he's going to possibly derail all that. Because what was it, the last time somebody had an issue like this in WWE? What, Jeff Hardy? He was gone for like 4-6 months or something like that?
So
yeah, I believe the last issue he had would have been in early 2019, and I think that's when they won the titles the week after, and then they dropped them.
Yeah.
They dropped them the week after to the Hardys, and then he was taken off TV for 6-8 months.
Yeah, it's like a wellness suspension almost. So you expect him to be gone for at least 90 days.
Yeah, at least 90 days. If not, I think he might. It's possible that he might just be cut.
You think they just cut him at this point since they've been cutting people, Stu?
Now that they cut Braun Strowman, they've cut Aleister Black, they've cut so many people. I wouldn't put it past Nick Khan to say, go find work somewhere else.
Wow, because I mean, he's in the main event story picture. That's tough.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
I guess you could just come out and like they would just play it off as real life and just be like, "Oh, he failed me. He's trying to diminish me as at the table chief. He insulted me by doing this or something like that."
That's true. That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Thank you, Caden, for joining us. Tell everybody how they can find your podcast and tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
Yes, my podcast is called Unpopular Review. It's on YouTube, and you can head over to Unpopular Review on Twitter as well. I should be at Caden_FTW on Twitter. Caden spelled Kaden. You can find me there.
Caden, again, thanks for joining us. That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin the Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. Oh, by the way, that's our Twitch channel as well. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We live stream on YouTube and Twitch every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Central. Or you can catch us Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central on the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns and your radio home in Austin for the Dallas Cowboys. We are the Horn, 104.9 and 101.9 FM and AM 1260. You can also catch us anytime on demand by going to hornfm.com and click on the on-air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast provider. Make sure you rate and review us while you're there. Thanks to Caden for joining us. For Justin, I'm Stu. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. We will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
Screwed that ending up, but that's okay.
Oh, I thought you were just trying to make time.
No. I think we'll be fine.
I was going to say, I thought your readout, though, I was like, man, you almost nailed the whole thing. You only had like one little hiccup.
Yeah. Almost said WWE Dynamite. So. By the way, we got
that would have been funny if you kind of did though.
I'm not going to do that to JR. I have way too much respect. I hope to get JR back on the show soon. So we got Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in the ring. So
I was going to say nobody else is watching wrestling tonight.
Nobody else.
No,
yeah, because it's NBA Finals Game 1 tonight.
Yeah, it's the first game of the finals. Argentina's playing this Copa America match to get to the final.
By the way, we get the semifinals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup at Q2.
Yes, but it's a long time from now to see
true.
who will be the people that are competing in that. So
who do we got? We got LAFC coming to Q2 on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So make sure you beat the traffic.
Dude, that was that first goal by John Gallagher.
Oh,
on
you
Thursday.
even say his name right. That's good. Most people say it wrong.
It was I tell you what, it was even hard for us in the press box to stay calm.
Oh,
there was a little bit of excitement.
That press box isn't very like they really don't enforce the rules.
And Adam Wagner was with us from the Wagner Wire. And Wags was he was ready to just, lose everything. It was hilarious. The funny story though. So we go down and what a great night to have your first in-person press conference. With Josh Wolf and John. So we get done. Had the press conference, and you see John was just he was hurting. His foot was hurting. But you can see he was pretty excited about having scored the first goal in, Q2 history, first MLS goal. So we get done. We're walking back to the elevator. We see Josh Wolf, so congratulated him. We're getting on the elevator. Here comes John Gallagher. Hey, can I ride with y'all? Said, sure. So he rode up the one floor he needed, and, just kind of just a little 10 seconds of chit chat with him. But he was very, very pleasurable to chat with. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to Austin FC. See if they can keep it going on Thursday night.
And we'll see.
So I think we're going to shut down the stream for now. Again, Caden, thanks so much for joining us. We will not be streaming next week because I will be in Arlington getting ready for Big 12 Media Days, and I think Chad Hastings is going to sit in with me.
So you really are just looking for replacements, huh? What is this, NXT, the season 2 edition?
It's more like SGTW Dark.
SGTW Dark.
Well, hey, look, Chad. Now I think next week we preview Money in the Bank. Is that right?
That sounds about right. Because it's about
so
that
at least
time.
I can do that
Sunday.
with him. I can't do much. I can't talk Impact Slammiversary with him. But
I was trying to think of basically all those legends are just either not here or just too old to compete. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how WWE kind of goes forward.
Yeah.
As they continue their product, just because that's always been one of those things that they have relied upon in their past.
You're right. So for now, for Caden, for Justin, I'm Stu.